This is our title, Green Plants as Organisms, which is part of the Forwards with Science series aimed at Key Stage 2 and may be used, some of the screens may be suitable for Key Stage 1 and indeed for older pupils. It runs on TextEase, that means you need TextEase on the computer in order to run the title. Green Plants as Organisms, here we are, we'll go back to that. As you can see, there are a number of buttons on the screen. If we click on that one, it'll tell us a little bit about this particular title. Version 3.47, published June 2012. And if we click on here, that'll show you what the different buttons on the screens do. So out of there, now I'll show you what some of these buttons do. If we click on that one, we go to an activity on flowering plants. That one, an activity on transporting young plants. That one will take us to the menu. And for instance, we could go to this one on measuring and recording plant growth, and then we can go back to the main screen. Click on that one, that will start the first activity, in this case the parts of a typical flower. What the children do there, put their parts in position. If they don't know what to do, they can click on there. And that leads me to tell you a little bit about the taskbar. The taskbar doesn't print when you print the screen, unless of course you do a print screen function and you put that into Paint and record the screen as it is with perhaps a child's name on it. The arrows predictably move back and forth. That, we know what that does. That is the task button telling them what to do. That is the answer button, and sometimes there are a few extra little hotspots on there giving them more information. That is the research button. That is the resource button with either pictures or with labels or beginnings and endings of sentences or all three. Here we go to a totally open-ended screen with the same buttons as before. And something I did mention about print screen and into Paint, but of course if you print the screen itself using the printing icon here, then the background doesn't print and you can scroll down and have more paper, I suppose you could say, for the children to do further activities. Here we've got facts about flowering plants, so you could maybe type in there, the petals attract insects, the colourful petals attract insects, and there we can have a few ideas of what we can do, or we can add to the picture. Here we've got a Venn diagram comparing the ovary or the anther, and of course you can use that for anything. Here we've got text boxes within there that the children can write in. And parts of a flower, a labelling activity. This is a good one on the whiteboard. I've used this quite a few times. So if, for instance, we take that out of there, double click because I've still got it in the edit mode, but if I take it out of the edit, only one click is required. And so they can colour code, and it's a good activity for the children to discuss as you're starting a new unit in, for instance, flower parts, and their jobs. Click on there, another activity on that, click on there, and there is a star graph. So what the parts of a flower do, a little bit of role play here. I protect the bird, I make the seeds, I receive the pollen, and so on. And here we are, a flowering plant. Here we've got an example of a special features one. Once again, we could use some role play there. And another one, we've seen that sort of activity before, and that one. Here, the life cycle of a flowering plant, what they do is to sequence the drawings. And here, insect pollination, and what the children need to do there. Describe what the diagram shows stage by stage. And again, wind pollination, how seeds are formed, seed dispersal, so you put the seeds in groups. You say group 1 could be the wind dispersed, and group 2 could be the animal dispersed, group 3 could be the self-dispersed, and so on. And once again, we do have the support there. And seed germination, the same idea. A typical leaf, what you have there is a few ideas, things that you can write down, a broad flat surface to help the leaf make food or to absorb lots of energy, and so on. Inside a leaf, perhaps a little bit difficult, but I'm sure quite a few children would like to know what goes on inside the leaf. And again, here we are on the top here, a layer of wax slows evaporation from the leaf, and so on. So it's quite a nice little comprehension screen, in fact. How green plants make food, starting off with what they need and what they do, and once again another way of thinking about the same thing. The process of photosynthesis, they can click here to have a little bit more information. They can click on there. And here, photosynthesis, okay, what happens here? Photosynthesis is the process and leaves as food factories, and back to photosynthesis again. Farming and the environment. Now this is an interesting one because Do we realise how much we affect the environment? And here we've got a few words that might give us some ideas. And if we go into the research button, we've got quite a lot here. Farming in the environment, using fertilisers, yes, fine, very good, but it may lead to water pollution. Pesticides may kill the good insects as well as the bad ones, and herbicides may reduce biodiversity, and destroying hedges could lead to soil erosion, and crop rotation, what happens there, and organic farming, what happens there. So quite a lot there for the children to discuss, perhaps an activity for year 6 or beyond. Here, once again, an activity where the children are looking for the words in the word bank and trying to put them in the right places. Doesn't matter if they can't do them all. And once again, a similar theme using the words that are available. Recognising leaves, what they do there is to complete a graph. Is the leaf divided into leaflets? Are the leaflets on opposite pairs of the stem? And then we go to this one, transporting young plants. And here we have a few ideas here, a bit of an answer here for the children. And transport tubes of young plants, we can put them together and make up the whole and show what happens in the leaf where the transport tubes are in the stem and in the leaf. Here we've got one on growing seeds. On the face of it, quite a simple activity, but of course the children can decide which group they're going to be in, whether they're going to be in a light place, dark place, whether they're going to water, whether the seed's going to be cold, and so on. And once again, another way of recording the results. And here we've got some more images here, and of course we've got the beginnings and endings of sentences. So the plants that have grown in the same direction can go by the window, the ones in a cold place will hardly have germinated at all or grown at all, and so on. And once again, you've got a word association activity. And measuring and recording plant growth, obviously it says that the ruler and the plants have been magnified, but then it's something they can go ahead and do in the school grounds as well. And here we have a report on that, and being able to complete the graph, the stem 1, stem 2 and stem 3. And there we're back to the beginning with the parts of a typical flower, and that is our programme, Green Plants as Organisms.